All right. Hello, educators. My name is Ross Braun, and this is the brand new School Life series. What is it? Well, it's a web series sponsored by School Life, where we're going to bring on the greatest educators across the country who are experts in various fields to help you with your school life. So today is episode one. And to get us started, we have the CEO of School Life, our sponsor for this web series, Kim Madey. And we're going to get to know her a little bit more about her company and what she's like. So, Kim, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me,
Yeah,
Ross.
absolutely. So they'll get to know about our relationship later on in the episode here. But
Okay.
let's talk about you first. So let's hear your journey. Let's hear a little bit about the history of School Life and where you're at today.
Okay, well, School Life, it's a family business. We started about 25 years ago because my family is truly passionate about education. My sister and I were lucky enough to grow up surrounded by educators. Our parents are retired principals. Um, in fact, our mom was the first female high school principal in the Klein ISD school district in Texas. So that's really cool. And our dad was not only a principal, but he had this entrepreneurial spirit, and he started a company called EPI, Educational Products Incorporated, which he basically pioneered the idea of prepackaged school supplies. So really, the seed was planted in us from a super early age.
Yeah, and your parents, I've met them both. They are just great human beings, and even they've been out of education for a while and are retired, but you can tell they still have that passion for education, just burnt
They're my
inside them. So when you
heroes.
get
They
to talk,
really are. Hmm.
it is really cool to see. So that's great. So why School Life? Like, where did maybe the name come from? Where did the idea of
Okay.
brag tags come from?
Okay. So, you know, the word life is an important word. It's really has immense magnitude. There's there's really no more important place for the youth to be than in school. So you put those words together, school life, and that's kind of, very powerful.
Hmm.
So when the beginning of brag tags was, we were kind of confabbing one Thanksgiving about how we can help all students, not just students that, always excel at sports or academics, but all students. How can we make something affordable for all students to be recognized? And so, we came up with this idea of this kind of military style brag tag that is really budget friendly so that every student will be recognized and know that someone is on their side, someone's proud of them, someone believes in them. So that's kind
Yeah.
of where that all came from.
That's cool. And I know as a principal, when I was using brag tags, that was huge for me. This was something that I could easily afford and something that I knew every student would receive at least one. Sometimes when we are looking to recognize and reward, I know I can only afford X amount. Or these are like, I know every student's going to get at least one.
That is so
And,
great.
let's flood these kids with brag tags as much as we can. So that's great. So one thing, oh, we got a cameo in the back. Rizzo, he's probably going to be the School Life dog on
Oh,
these web
good.
series, but he's going to take a nap. So one thing I'm really passionate about is making sure that educators are seen as humans. Not just the teacher in the classroom, but they have a life outside of the school life, and they really are seen as a human. And so,
Hmm.
let's get to know you a little bit more outside of your role as the CEO of School Life. What are some of your personal passions in life up in Oregon?
Oh gosh. Well, I kind of feel really lucky because my personal and professional passions are basically the same. I'm just really passionate about making a positive impact in as many little ways or big ways as I can. I truly am. That's where my happy place is. Um, actually, this is a good. I just thought of this. I have a favorite quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. You probably know it, but it kind of sums up my passion. I think the ending of it is something like, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition, to know that even one life has breathed easier because you have existed, this is to have succeeded. And that kind of sums it all up for me.
That's great. That is so good. I love that. How about this next question? Who influenced you in your life?
Well, I'm glad we brought up my parents in the beginning because really my family is the biggest influence on me. My parents, they are my heroes, and they're not only educators, but like you said, they are the most kind, genuine, generous human beings. I couldn't have been luckier growing up. I really respect my husband. He's a very honest, hard worker, and I have to say, now that my boys are grown, they are big influences. They're positive influences on my life. So I would just say, really, my family is the biggest influence on me.
Well, that's great. That's something that we resonate so much together, because I feel the exact same way, and we'll talk about that more here later on in the episode. But family is everything, and you talk about your boys, and I love just the circle of life, and you think about raising them and how much they probably cause stress and worry in your life, and then now you're at a point where you can just truly, enjoy them, and I'm sure you still worry about them. One's living across the world right now, but at the same time, they can pour into your cup as much as they've taken away, maybe for some of these
Absolutely.
years.
Absolutely.
All right,
100.
so we talked about brag tags, and this may be the case, but school life has a ton of products and solutions for schools. When I really feel like you're making a difference across the country with what you're doing with school life, and I believe that. What is your favorite school life product and why?
Okay, well, we've been talking about it. Brag tags are absolutely my favorite product. And the reason is because they're my family's brainchild. I mean, we originated them 26 years ago. We love that they caught on. There's other people that do DIY, do it yourself brag tags. Lots of teachers do. But we were just striving for that solution and it caught on, and it's just so effective that it's my favorite product because we have students that will come back to teachers years later and show them the brag tags that they've created. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite
Yeah,
stories too is the child that made you when you decided you were going to take another path for your career, and they didn't make you a card. They made you a brag tag. So that was the
yeah,
impact brag tags made on that child. I have another teacher that told me their student had to go back into the foster care system and was leaving, but she came up to her and said she would keep this forever. And it was a brag tag that Mrs. Larson had given to her. It means a lot. My favorite product.
yeah. I love that. And every child can be impacted differently by one small product, and it's not necessarily the physical product, it's how they feel inside when they're receiving it, when they're seeing it. I've had a lot of foster care students in my years in education, and they don't get to take a lot with them from stop to stop. That brag tag was something that they could take with them. It'd
Mm-hmm.
fit in the
Mm-hmm.
pocket, and they could carry on the memories. So
And
I love that.
I agree with that. And I love how it stimulates this like friendly competition and unites these kids. They kind of have this awareness of, we're all in this together. Look at this tag you got. Oh, I didn't get that one. And they kind of, so
Yeah,
it's a really neat thing that brings kids together.
it is. I love that too. And I had some naysay or teachers, in our building when we first started it, and they said, why am I going to reward a student that hasn't done the right thing for 3 weeks, and then today he does, and the student beside them has been doing the exact same, right thing for 3 weeks straight, and they're not getting rewarded. Kids get it, right? When that kid is rewarded for the first time in 3 weeks, guess who's the biggest champion in the room? The one right
Exactly.
next to him that's been doing the right thing for 3 weeks. It is
Exactly.
amazing to see kids show empathy the way that they have, and it's just naturally instilled inside them. And so
And that
ragtag.
intrinsic value of like that, what
Yeah,
you're exactly what you're saying is that it teaches someone else how good it feels that someone else is the person next to them is getting it and is doing better
yes,
and is, it's like they're proud. How we can be proud of our kids as parents, and that's how
yeah,
kids can feel as well. So it's neat.
yeah. It is neat to see. I love it. So, in this school life series, we're going to have, like I said, a lot of guests on, and they're going to share a lot of great topics that they are experts in their field. But we're going to go through some of the same questions, like I've asked you, and we're always going to end with two things. Is one, what advice do you have to educators? This is not an easy time in education. We're coming out of a pandemic, trying to figure out still where we're at in education. Uh, Society is back to maybe not looking at teachers from the best lens. What advice do you have for them?
Gosh, oh my gosh. I try to get all the advice I can from educators, not the other way around. But I think ask for help. We're here. There's so many resources and so many people that want to help. Ask for help from your other teachers, from your peers, from your principals, from whoever. I mean, I really can't give educators advice because they are where I get my inspiration and advice. But I think as human beings, the more we can show compassion and consistency and unconditional love, the more secure we can make others feel. And that secure and balanced, secure, I think that when people are secure and balanced, they're happier and we're all better off because of it. So I do believe in being relentlessly positive. So I guess that can be some advice. That's advice.
No, that's great. I love that. That's just great advice for humans.
Yeah.
And educators are humans, like we talked about. And
Mhm.
so I love that. Now, it may be similar to, but what advice would you give to the students that, 7, 8-year-old is sitting in class right now? What would you tell them?
I think I would take from your playbook and I would say, believe in yourself. Truly
Wow.
believe in yourself. I know that that's your mantra and I love it. And it's true that we want students to believe in themselves as much as we do. And so if they have that belief that someone is on their side and they can start to get that center inside of them of, you know what, I am okay, and I am going to keep going forward, no matter if I have roadblocks. I'm not giving up. I'm believing in myself. That's very important for students, young students.
Love that. I love it. Well, Kim, hopefully our viewers, and whether it's 150, 5,000, that's the idea of this series is to provide support, provide an educational resource for educators. We're going to try to keep it short every week, 20, 30 minutes, where they can listen on the commute to school, or they can listen during their prep, watch us, listen to it. So we're going to put it out everywhere and just try to help them and make an impact. We don't want
Awesome.
anything other than just
Making an
making an
impact.
impact in our education system better for students and for staff. So
Awesome. Well, can I spin
thank
it
you.
around now? Oh, my pleasure. My
Yeah,
gosh, thank you. Can I spin it around now and
absolutely.
ask you a couple of questions?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to be the host every week, so I guess we'll let
They're
our
good.
viewers get to know us a little bit more.
Okay, well, I'm going to just kind of ask you the same questions in a way that you asked me, like, tell us about your journey and how you got here.
Okay. Well, I pride myself on being a forever educator. Um, and that journey was not necessarily, one I knew from age 10. It wasn't until I was a senior in high school and I started volunteering in our elementary that I thought, this is what I want to do with my life, making an impact. And so I really saw the impact that I was making at that time in a couple young boys in our school that didn't have a father figure in their life. And so that was just kind of what clicked for me. And I said, I want to
That's
make
awesome.
an impact on young boys that don't have a positive male role model in their life. And I'm going to do that through teaching and education. And so that's where it started. And then as I got into it farther and farther, I realized that I was making a bigger impact than just a handful of boys a year, and it was both male and female, and in cross grade levels, and um, it really within our community. And then as I grew farther than that, I thought, well, I want to do this on a larger scale, and I can, make an impact with teachers, and they can have an impact in their classroom. And as that happened, some doors opened, and I stepped into administration, and really felt like we were making a change in our school. And so um, I was in administration for 6 years, and loved every minute of it, and was really making an impact. Um, but I wanted to do more. I want to make an impact now in more schools across the country. And so
And
some doors
you
opened. Yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, and during that time, those 6 years, you were making such a big impact, but you were also invited to be a national speaker because of the impact you were
Yeah.
making.
Yeah, and just relationships and doors opened, and I was asked to join the Get Your Teach On network, and present on the lead on side, get your lead on at a regional conference and a couple of regional conferences, and then last summer at nationals in Dallas, Texas, in front of 5,500 educators. It was just unbelievable, the energy and passion that was there at that conference that week. And then outside of that, traveling around, presenting and speaking to schools around the country, and it's just the most rewarding experience possible.
So
So,
amazing.
so that's my educational journey. And then, as you know, um,
Yes, I'm over
this
the moon
early
about.
spring, you and I had a conversation, and one thing led to another, and here I am now, um, in as a part of the School Life family, as your vice president of business development, but more importantly, vice president of positive education, right?
Yeah, I mean, I am. I'm over the moon. I pinch myself, going, How did this happen?" I'm so happy about it. But what what was your gut like? Why did you choose school life? Like, what was your calling to school life?
That's a great question. And I it was the hardest decision I've ever made in my life. I for a fact, because I had a good thing going. I felt like I was making a difference in our school, and everything. But it came down to two things. One, I the principalship was draining me as a father, as a husband, and as a human. And I really felt like I wasn't at my best mentally, and I really just wasn't who I wanted to be. And then on the other side, I saw the potential of impact that I could make with school life, and you. And then in the conversations that we had together, I saw how much you believed in me. And that was it. I said, you believe in me, not just as VP of your company, but you believed in me as a person and as a human. And I'm
100%.
emotional just like thinking about that, because the month of May was crazy. It was the most definitely emotional month I've had probably in my life. And
I can
and
imagine.
when you but it was such a great feeling, because when I made the decision and said, okay, this is it, the stress was gone, the weight was gone. And even just the past month, I've seen a lot of folks from my old school. I've seen a lot of family members, and they're like, "We love this version of you.
Oh,
We've never
great.
seen you this happy." And that just reassures me that I
You've
made the
made
right
the right
decision.
decision.
And
Well,
then, you and
I
I were in Houston last week, and just being together in that time, and with Aaron, our, marketing director, and the great people down at the Houston facility, like, it was so reassuring that, this is who I want to align with. These are the people that I want to make a difference with. And so
It's
that's
true, and
it.
I think I know so much of your stress was you put so much of your heart and soul into your students and your staff, and I was worried because I knew we wanted you on our team so badly, but I wanted to give you that space because I know how passionate you are about your staff and your students. And now I think also when you've made that leap, the stress not only fell off, but you've kind of gone into this rhythm that you're still involved. You're still going to
Yeah.
be involved with the staff and the students and your community. And that's really, really important.
Yeah, it is. And being able to stay here and work remotely and travel with you, it's just been great. And it's allowing me to stay involved in our community. And honestly, I think our community and our schools getting a better version of me as well.
Exactly.
And probably have a better impact than what I was making.
Well, I
So
know
I can't,
one of your, oh, go ahead, Ross. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I'll never be able to thank you enough for the opportunity and for believing in me.
Well, thank you. No, I would love to thank you constantly every day. And I do. You see my emails.
Yeah.
Thank you. We love you here. So, I do. I think I know one of your personal passions. So I'm curious about what your passions are as a human.
Yeah. We talked already about, just making a positive impact on every person that I come across, whether that's a student, a teacher, a principal, or the person behind me at the grocery store. One of my good friends, he jokes, you don't go anywhere and meet someone new, and that's just who I am
It's
because that
true.
person that's behind me in the grocery store, maybe they needed to have that positive interaction today. Maybe they were having a terrible day and they just needed 5 minutes of a positive conversation. And so that's really one of my personal passions is just making a difference
I
in
saw you at
anybody that I
Starbucks do that. I saw you at Starbucks say, "Hey, I don't even know how you knew that he was military." And you said, "Hey, thank you for your service." And the smile on his face was
yeah.
priceless. Yeah.
That's people need to hear that and they need that type of connection. So that's it. And then just personally, family, like we talked about, like just being with family and quality family time, call them, those core memories making with our kids. We
Water
love to go to the
sports.
lake. Yep,
Yeah.
we love to
That's
go down to Lake Cumberland in Kentucky and be just on the lake and having those type of fun times. And
with your
and then
adorable
lastly, I
family.
think literacy and reading. I love to read and hopefully spreading that message that the importance of reading and literacy. And so try to spend time every day with a book and reading some pages.
Cool. Well, so
Yeah.
do you have any advice for educators?
Yeah,
I know you have a lot of it.
advice for educators. I recently wrote a blog, Happy New Year, and loaded it up with all kinds of advice. And so for me, it's kind of hard to pinpoint it down to one. But I think overall, educators need to know that they are making a difference every day. And for educators, we don't get to see our harvest at the end of the school year, or on a day to day basis. And a lot of times the harvest is in 20 years or in 10 years. And we may not get to see it. We just have to trust that we're doing it and that we are making a difference. So continue to show up for your students and continue to do that because you are making a difference.
Love it. Love it. Well, so
Yeah.
I guess what will this podcast series be all about? I mean, I'm loving it. I love
Yeah.
that you're doing this, but I guess, the crux of the podcast?
Yeah, I'm so excited for it. I know there's a lot of different podcasts and things out there for educators, and we just want to be another resource, right? Each week or every other week, I think is what we've kind of landed on. What we're going to do this. We're going to have a guest on the series, and we're going to cover a topic in education that we feel educators need help with. And so if you see the topic as an educator and you say, yes, I need this, please listen, give it a listen. We're going to have just gurus on certain topics. And I'm saying like the best in the country on various topics are going to share their insights and their passion. So as an educator, whether you're a principal, teacher, there's going to be something for everybody. And we hope that you just give it a listen. Hopefully you take something from it. I say that when I speak, like, I'm going to give you an hour of content. Take one thing. All right. Don't try to tackle everything and take 50 ideas. Take one thing or take two or three things, but take it and use it. And so that's going to be the idea is just providing a positive image on education and providing a resource that educators can use.
Great. Awesome.
Cool.
Yay.
All right. Well, hey, hopefully they got to know us a little bit more. Next week, we're going to get kicked off with Todd Nesloni, who is my best friend and a national presenter, speaker, and just a great human being. And he's
High
going to
energy.
share tons of high energy. So he's going to be our first guest after you, of course, and he's going to really get us kicked off. And
Yay.
I'm excited for that conversation. So thank you again, Kim.
Thank you.
And thank you, educators, for what you do. We're all in this together. Have a great day.
Yes. Thank you.